Hi, I'm Jake with Arrow Building, and today on the Build Show, we're not in Columbia, we're in Taylorville, Illinois. And the reason we're here in Taylorville is we are talking to Matt Blomquist. He's the teacher at the program here that these students are building this house. So let's go into the job trailer and talk to him real quick. Okay guys, this is Matt Blomquist. He's at the Taylorville Illinois High School, and the program that you're in charge of is called what?
Building Trades is the class, Building Trades House Building Program.
And this is the Building Trades classroom, in effect, when you pair it with the house you guys are building.
Yeah, we call this the mobile classroom. It was an old camper trailer that was donated to us. The kids last year ripped it apart. We sanded down the frame, welded on some extra supports, and it's actually an all community donated project. It didn't cost the school anything, and the kids last year and over the summer even helped. And we built this to work as the classroom and also my office out the job site.
Okay, so you'll hear that conversation probably multiple times about the support from the community. I know that the lot was donated here for the house. There's been materials donated. This job trailer, everything in here was taken care of by the community. This really is a good example of there are kids here that want to learn, and this community is facilitating that ability. They have an office, a trailer. This is a nicer job trailer than I've ever been in before, and I've been on some fairly decent job sites. And you guys are building a really well-built, great house, and the community just is showing support. And you have, how many kids were here this morning? 16?
16.
16 kids that are all interested. And that's not all the kids in the program either. There's more kids coming this afternoon.
Yeah, we have about 30 kids.
So this thing's really cool, but I want to talk about the house as well. Before we move in there, you have full office. You'll have a table in here eventually where you can put stuff up and kids can look at it. You have a plotter. You have a mini split, a fridge, a microwave. You have a full job site office.
Full job site office.
It's just clean and well put together.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome, and I think that this was a great introduction. Like you said, this is a great introduction.
And the kids built, I mean, I helped a lot on this, but kids easily 80% of the job easily on this. I mean, and we even modeled this kind of how we modeled the house. Like we used zip, we taped, we got rain screen behind the siding. So this thing was entirely spray foam for us, but we kind of built it and did it just like a stepping stone to the house.
That's awesome. Okay, let's go inside and look at that house. All right, Matt, now that we're inside, the building assembly. You guys had somebody else pour the concrete so you could get it in before the semester started.
Correct.
It's an ICF foundation. We're on a crawl space. We just went down to the crawl space. We saw that the crawl space is encapsulated. You have 10 or 12 mil poly over the entire floor. It wraps up the walls. It's terminated on the wall. The rim board downstairs is already spray foamed in place and warm. Up here we're 2x6 walls. I see you have zip R on the outside. So you have that R6 insulation on the continuous on the outside of your framing. On the outside it's all taped. There's a rain screen.
Yes.
Then your siding. The ceiling's already drywalled because you're stealing some of our, not stealing, sharing some of the same details that we're using for air sealing. And we're at a point where the kids are still continuing for the rest of the year on this house. Yeah. And they've got to do all of this except for the actual set, the concrete ICF blocks.
Yeah.
And they've been able to be hands-on through the whole process.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, some of those kids are probably more involved than others. And there's a few that raised their hand today when I said, how many of you were actually going into the trades? So what is your opinion on what this house and this program means to those kids?
One of the things they're learning how to build a house. We obviously implementing building science, following what you guys have been doing, Steve, for them, it's even more than just building the house. That's great. Even though they build one house, they're not going to know how to build a house. It's more just trying to create good employees for the trade. Have that basic knowledge, read and tape measure, know how to use the power tools, understand how to frame walls. It's, our goal is to make them good employees and get them to a point where they can show up on the job site and they would be a beginner asset. They're not going to be a walk-on finished carpenter or master framer, but they can work with those guys and they know how to cut a board to a certain length, or they know how to nail off when framing up 2x6 walls properly, or whatever it may be. We want them to be able to walk on a job site, have an understanding, and be an asset right away.
So their goal or your goal for them is to be able to say, okay, well, that kid was not the kid that I had to teach how to read a tape measure the first day. That kid was the one teaching the other kid how to read the tape measure the first day.
Yeah.
Because that can be difficult. There is a learning curve getting into this industry that a lot of times this industry is not friendly towards.
Oh, yeah.
If you're working with 4 guys that have gray hair that came up in the 80s that are just gung-ho and they're production framers their whole life, they might not have the same tolerance for a new kid, which any industry is that way. It's just we think of it in our industry as like screaming and yelling sometimes. It's not that. I mean, every office job is the same way. The person that's been there for 15 years gets irritated when somebody new comes in. So you're giving them an excellent entry-level position. Maybe the equation that I would say is like building this house over the course of a year with them gives them 3 months experience on their first day.
Yeah, that's a good
They start that first job, and you don't have to go, no, this one's the Sawzall, this one's the circular saw.
Correct. And they get to see the whole process, you know. If I do something now, am I going to screw the electrician later on or whatever? So since they get involved in that whole process, they understand the process better and will be, you know, hopefully more
in tune.
In tune, there you go, to what the next person has to do, you know, and appreciate, I guess is what I'm looking for, appreciate what happens next.
Yep. And then you're also taking that and introducing the building science aspect.
Yeah.
So you have kids that are achieving building science goals that builders that have been in business for 20 years are not tackling.
Correct. Yeah.
And that brings us to the reason for our visit today. So we brought our RetroTech blower door up and we ran a blower door test with the kids. And if you hadn't noticed already the fogginess that's in here, it's not the camera, it's actually foggy in here. We started by running a pressurizing blower door test. Then we ran a or vice versa, depressurized first, then we pressurized. When we pressurized, we sent a few of the kids to the attic, a few of the kids to the crawl space, and we filled the house with fog and asked them to find leaks, and they weren't able to find any leaks. And there was a little bit of a general fog like you see in here in the attic, but no one point of failure that they were leaning towards. And that brings us to like the reveal part of this video. These guys were able to get passive house levels of air leakage, 0.6 and under, 0.6 ACH and under, on a house built by students that the majority of those kids, while you said some of their dads are in the trade, the majority of those kids have not built a house before. And so this is an incredible achievement, in my opinion. I think it's something that you guys should be very proud of.
Yes,
and I think the kids were very proud and honored that they were able to verify that all of that effort with tapes and sealants and crawling around and taking care of things was actually worth it. So I think the takeaway here is support from the community, which I think is very easy for everybody to give if you care. It's not that much of an effort. And then a little bit of somebody taking the time to be diligent and show kids the right way to do things. This is high school kids that are achieving great building science and really good durable construction. So I'm really proud of Matt and our industry, and I'm proud of your kids.
Very proud of the kids. They did it.
Don't forget to follow both of us on Instagram. Mine's Jake.Bruton and Matt's is...
I'm Build, Learn, Teach. There's underscore in between the build and the learn.
Okay. Till next time on the Build Show. Thanks.